guys, and welcome to the Rondo. It's a sad day today. It's a very sad day, but yeah, man. Anyway, it's your guy AA, hosting as normal. I got actually both my co-hosts with me today. It's an exec Rondo episode today. So I've got my guy JG. Tell him.
Oh God, man, what's going on?
I get why the energy's dejected. It's a sad day.
Bro,
Marcus, tell him what's going on, bro.
Hello, Marcus on the pod. You know how it is.
Okay, on today's podcast, of course, we're going to start off with the departure of Klopp, the imminent departure of Klopp at the end of the season. I think it was a surprise news story for all earlier this week. Then we're going to move into essentially Klopp and his legacy and compare him to other Premier League managers. And also, we might just compare him to Arsene Wenger and how he compares to him, do a little bit of a spotlight there. Then we're going to move into Xavi. Another manager has told us that at the end of the season, he will be leaving his job as well. A manager who has a lot of the Barcelona identity within him, who's someone who Barcelona fans thought was in there for the long term. So we're going to talk about him as well. Then we're going to move into the best upcoming managers and who we think is best placed to take that Liverpool job and that Barca job. So it's going to be an episode today very much dedicated to managers as we have a break on the Premier League. So nothing major to talk in the Premier League. We've had FA Cup and we've had AFCON. So that will be our last topic where we just do weekly rondos on those two things. So to start off with, Klopp leaving Liverpool. The news came out on Friday. I think it was crazy, man. Man, honestly, when I found out, Jalen put it into the chat. Trust Jalen to be the one to deliver such news to me, bro. I genuinely thought it was a fake account. You know when you think it's a spoof account or something? I go in, I see it's Fabrizio, I see that tick, and literally as I went onto the TL, Liverpool literally just released that he was leaving, and bro, I swear that I collapsed back onto my bed and just looked at the ceiling and just thought, rah. I just wasn't expecting it. I think because he had obviously signed a contract extension during last season till the end of 2026. So I thought he'd see out the end of his contract. I know he's been kind of complaining about stress and also that he wants to go back to Germany, which I can understand. It's a tough job, being Liverpool manager. There's a lot on him. And I think sometimes football fans forget, like, he's German. He's a German man. Been living in England, having to speak a second language to him for how long? He probably wants to go back and chill in his home nation. So yeah, man, it was absolutely crazy, man. He's a hell of a man. And he's just the identity of Liverpool. I feel like in modern history has been so tied to him. When you think about Liverpool in modern history. You think about Klopp, 9 years, 10 years once he leaves. It's a shame, man. And this is why I'm wearing all black, guys, in remembrance of him. And yeah, man, Klopp, I just want to say to you, I don't have a drink with me today, man, but hats off to you, man. You're an absolute legend of this football club. I've loved every minute of you being here, the growth, the passion, the tactics, the style of play. You brought the joy back to supporting Liverpool, man. Hey, I love you, man. Moms, I love you, man. You're like a German dad to me, man. The way I've loved watching my club play the electric football, the style, the growth as we've got better and we've gone from, I remember when we had Brendan Rodgers in that last season and we were playing Champions League, and I remember that game where Real Madrid just diced us up. And I genuinely, that game, I thought us competing at the top level,
It was a 3-0.
it was like a 3-0 or 3-1. Ronaldo scored a good goal,
Banging goal.
Banging goal,
Group
bro.
stages,
Yeah,
no?
yeah, group stages. And it was just like, genuinely, when the levels are just...
So far,
Here.
apart.
He basically left you in the same place then.
Yeah. So,
Because
shush,
your last Champions League game was against Real Madrid at home.
yeah, but it wasn't like that.
Champions League final.
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, that one, but we're better than that now.
Oh.
But anyway,
No, I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
they lost 5-2.
That's true.
I just never thought that game, and I feel like my whole time that was funny, but that game and my whole time sort of supporting Liverpool as a kid, because Klopp's been the manager throughout most of my adulthood. I never thought Liverpool would be a team that, yes, bro, he's been the manager for like 9 years. I was 17 when he took over, so Klopp coming in, before Klopp came in, I feel like Liverpool were always like this. You know, like maybe some years we challenge at the top, but we go straight back down, 8th finishes, 6th finishes. Okay. Yeah, we had some stints of finishing in top 4 consistently.
And 5th.
But we never really competed at the top consistently. We weren't really a real domestic and European powerhouse. And for Klopp to bring that back to the club, along with absolutely thrilling, exciting football that I feel just embodied, you know, what the club was about, was absolutely amazing, man. It is such a shame to see him go, man, and nobody were able to really fill his boots. But
thank you, man.
we are where we are.
Time is, you know,
6 minutes on that alone.
Well, guys.
Yeah, let's be
guys. I'm
fair.
devastated, man. I'm devastated.
Listen, well done, Tim. But respectfully, I'm here to see that he's gone. You see what I'm saying? I'm pulling up to the funeral today, and I'm happy. You get me? The guy needs to leave.
Well?
I'm wearing black as well, fam. You get me?
This guy's ridiculous, man.
It's about time that this guy gets out of here, and I think Liverpool will be better off longer term. Now, to be honest, bring in someone else,
What an awful take.
and you know, steady the ship and build for the next. Build for the next gen.
How are they going to be better off?
I mean, Liverpool basically done what I told them to do, in all honesty. So I'm coming here to flex today, because I did say last season, you know, that it was time for him to go and bring in someone else and let them have their little project. I don't think Klopp would have won another major at Liverpool. But you know what?
I don't know if he will this season.
I'd 100% he's not going to. But anyway.
More likely than Arteta.
Anyways, as I said, you know, let's give him his respect. Obviously, he done a good job at Liverpool.
Brilliant job at Liverpool.
And you know, yeah, I can respect that still.
He's done a brilliant job. And like all of this reaction that I see on social media trying to diminish what he's done at the club.
Haters.
It just, you know what it is, yeah? It doesn't even really... Okay, it does bother me a bit. I won't lie, but you can't even rise to it too much, because I just feel like it just comes from jealousy. Because
100%.
Unless you support City, where fair enough, they've got Pep Guardiola, who is the best, probably the best manager of all time, definitely in recent time. Then you're just jealous, because there's no other manager in the world who's better. Pound for pound, I honestly believe he's the best in the world, one of the best of all time. He's up there with probably Wenger and Simeone. But
Simeone, interesting.
Yeah, but honestly, those guys that are trying to, you know, just diminish what he's done, I think is just so stupid. When you think about the rebuild, the way he's consistent at the top, the way he's challenged City, the way he's won trophies, like he's won everything. To try and say that he hasn't done a fantastic job is just, well, you're either stupid or you're just really committed to your agendas. But yeah, man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy to see him go.
Quickly though, yeah. You see the next manager that comes in, yeah. If they don't win a major in their first 4 years, yeah, you're gonna be upset.
With where the team is now, I would expect you to get one.
Always be careful when you answer Jaden's questions, because
he's always leading into something. You see, it's not
about
to get very silly over here right now.
Because I feel like with where the team is now, I would expect you to get one. Obviously, it depends, innit? If you're getting in the 90 points and Pep is doing above that, then yeah, I'll be disappointed. But will I ask for you to leave? Probably not. But I would expect, with where the team is now, I think...
His point is that Liverpool have not won a major in the last 4 years.
Yeah, but I still think... You've got to see what Klopp's done, though. Despite that, he did win everything, it's tough against Pep. Like, I don't feel like anyone's looking at that. And yeah, of course, Klopp could have done slightly better, but you're not looking back at his time at Liverpool and saying nothing but absolute respect
100%
for what he's done.
As I said, I respect it, but I'm not gonna sit here and ignore, you know, certain obvious points. However, you know, today's a day where we're gonna give him his fair dues. So I'm not gonna do too much, but I think obviously the next discussion really would be, you know, where does he rank amongst the best?
Yeah, it would be. I think so. But just before that, I just wanna just before that, just because I just wanna reflect on one thing, innit? Because I feel like I just want to talk on the memory, man. Because I feel like for every Liverpool fan, with Klopp, there was a time where you really bought into the journey of what he was trying to do at the football club. And I just wanted to just take us back to, I think for me, well, to be honest, I can't, like, quite early on, I was brought onto the ship, like the crazy gang pressing and the attacking front foot football. But I feel like the time where he really won me over was that 4-3 win against Man City at Anfield in 2017-18. What a beautiful game it was, man. I just had to talk about it quickly, just because I feel like City were the Centurions that season. They were beating everyone. They were just mad. And then for him to, I think this was his first full season. And for him to take them on and win 4-3 in that manner, that's when I knew that we could compete at the top level against anyone in the game, man. Against anyone in the game. So,
That couldn't have been his first full season.
It was his first. Second full season. Second full season. But I thought that's when I realized that we were going to challenge at the very top. That was a hell of a game, man. I just wanted to just talk on a quick memory from him. But yeah, okay, good. Continue, guys. We can move on. But Klopp, man, I'll miss you, bro.
All right, man.
I'll miss you, man.
He's not gone yet, man. Calm down.
Gee,
But he is. Cool.
You saying done, yeah?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done now. We can now move on. Cool.
So obviously you made the statement that he's one of the best pound for pound, managers ever.
Yeah, I think so.
So like amongst the Prem managers, as I said, I always look at it and I see Pep, I see Mourinho, I see Wenger, I see Fergie, and I think Klopp is obviously in that group now as well. But if we were gonna rank them all, like,
what's my opinion?
Yeah, what's the order for you?
My opinion is number 1, Pep. Number 2, Fergie. Number 3, Mourinho. Number 4, Klopp. Number 5, Wenger. Or, Klopp and Wenger, in the Prem, it's touch and go for me. It depends how you look at it. I'll say, we're going to have the argument later, but I think overall he's better. But in the Prem, I'd say it's touch and go. So I'm split on those two in the 4th and 5th spots, to be honest, Prem legacy-wise, because when you look at Wenger's longevity, I do feel like you have to give him some credit. But me personally, I think he made quite a few mistakes in that Emirates era, which can't be ignored. What about your thoughts?
What mistakes did he make?
In my opinion, with Wenger, I feel like he did amazing in the Emirates era to like continuously finish in the top 4, to take on that whole, that real damning morality deflation of, having to sell all of his best players continuously and still do well. But I just feel like tactically, Wenger got Fabregas and he just became a bit, once he lost all of those old guys like the Omris and the Vieiras, he got Fabregas and just became too obsessed with beautiful tactical football. And he didn't have enough steel and defensive structure in his tactics, which I think made Arsenal be needlessly too poor away from home with the quality of side that they had. I just feel like
that was to do with teams taking out stupid tactics to stop us, bro. Kicking lumps out.
Nah, but even later on,
which nowadays,
when Chelsea beat you 6-0,
which nowadays would not be possible.
No, when Chelsea beat you 6-0, refereeing was
but by then, but I think obviously past like, let's say.
Bro, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But past
even when they lost 8-2 to United, you weren't allowed to kick players.
Past a certain time, I'd say I agree with you. I think obviously, I said already, I don't think anyone or any of those managers faced all the problems that Wenger faced. And as much as you might say, tactically he got worse, at the end of the day, like by then, to me, his legacy was set in stone. It doesn't really matter what happened after that. And I have a newfound respect for him now, mainly just because
I'm not sure you can just
when I look
discount.
No. I think it's irrelevant personally, innit? And as I said to you, I think if you look at like the problems that he actually did face, how many other managers would have done, better than what he done in that period? That's the question I want to ask you. I don't think anyone really would have done anything during that period, losing your best players every single season and not being able to reinvest. Because we've seen other clubs, you might sell your best players, but that money is going back into the side.
Back into the club.
We didn't have that at that particular period.
Is a fair point, and that is why I've got, in my opinion, I've probably got split on who is the best pound for pound manager of all time that I've seen. With Klopp
and I think obviously,
but can you ignore his tactics?
I'm ignoring that part because, as I said, by then we're talking about the legacy. To me, is set in stone. Same with like someone like Mourinho. Yes, he fell off towards the end of his career, but if you look at the prime years and that period,
that's the point I was
that's what I want to look at. I'm ignoring the other stuff.
So much, like it's like yes, he became.
How many Premier Leagues did he win?
3.
No, not Premier Leagues.
Oh, you're talking about other stuff. Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like by then, your legacy to me is set. Like after that, cool, you might fall off, but it's a different era. The best managers ever have been able to go through like different eras or whatever it is. Yeah, but even if you look at that, you're not really gonna get someone like a Wenger or Fergie again who can actually stay at a big club through all the pressure. You see, like the way social media moves now as well, and the pressure that comes from being at a big club. Are you really gonna get someone that's gonna stay for 20 years?
I already say
something like that.
There's 2 managers who have been at the top level pretty much throughout their career, and that's Fergie and Ancelotti.
Yeah, exactly. And I think now my thing
Pep will
is
be.
the reason that I've got the respect is because you got to think Klopp and Pep, they both took a sabbatical. Like the other managers, they just pushed through them periods, but the energy was still probably mad low, and they just pushed through it, innit? So I have a newfound respect for them, and it's something that I didn't really consider when thinking about Wenger from obviously before. He never had a break. He had the opportunity to go to Real Madrid, be in a situation that was a lot more stable, have the money that he wanted, and he said, "No, I'm gonna stick through this period, probably knowing that it was gonna kill him, in all honesty." But he done it anyway.
He
He took the hit.
in the club, man.
He took the hit, innit? And I think, do you know what it is as well? I think the time that we actually moved out of the stadium was a really poor time in terms of the way that the squad was shaping up, because we came to the end of that invincible period.
It was a
crazy
crazy
we were
rebuild
basically
to take
rebuilding the squad. You're rebuilding a stadium, and obviously at the time, I don't think we chose the best financial route as well to go down when acquiring the stadium and obviously moving into it, because other clubs were able to prepare for that in the future. And I feel like the move might have come a little bit too early for us.
But I feel like when you did it, I don't feel like the TV money in the Premier League was enough to kind of sustain you, because I feel like other clubs that have done better, I don't think you can really put that on Arsenal too much. They did better because the Premier League was very rich. You think about Tottenham. If the Premier League wasn't so rich and they had that TV money, they'd be in the same situation.
But that's what I'm saying. Timing wise, I just feel like a lot of things were off around that time, and you had to rely on so many different things. It didn't work out for us. So
right. I feel like we're there now. Then so you spoke about PL legacy, and I feel like it's quite split. On the whole, in your opinion, like who is the better manager, Klopp or Arsene Wenger?
I think Wenger overall to me was the better manager, but
why?
I have respect for both of them and what they've done. I think, as I said, if you look at the problems that Klopp faced, what would you say is his biggest issues?
Probably coming into teams with low quality and low budget,
which was similar to the situation that obviously Wenger came into, and he was going up against a Ferguson that was spending freely during that period. Our transfer record, I think, was 15 mil up to after the Xavi deal. Yeah. United was spending that in the early 2000s, way more than that.
Was spending a lot more than him. Yeah.
I think the Rio Ferdinand deal was at least 30 mil, right? It was 28 mil during that period. The equivalent now would be close to 100 mil. Do you get what I'm saying? Ferguson was continuously doing that. Wenger came into a league. He changed the mentality of a lot of different things on and off the pitch.
Revolutionary wise.
If we look at the stuff when it comes to sports science and how people looked into nutrition and that was set by Wenger in this league. No one else was really taking that seriously beforehand. And I think even if you look at the style of what he brought in eventually, I think someone like Fabregas was really important. Him bringing him through and kind of changing the mentality of what type of players could play in the midfield in the Premier League. I think Wenger just impacted the league more than what Klopp done. I think during that period where Klopp obviously done well, you could argue that Pep probably had a bigger impact on the league. If you look at all the teams now that are playing out the back, for example, playing more his style of football, Klopp's football is kind of more, is more similar to what the traditional English principles. When you think about the working hard and the pressing coming from the passion, the energy, all of that stuff. Yeah, that's all that stuff that I feel has kind of been there, but Klopp has kind of just extended it a little bit, whereas Pepper's bought kind of a new thing. So if we're looking at impacts, I think Wenger had the bigger impact on the league. I think if you look at it objectively and you look at what they both won, I mean, Wenger won more titles, but it was, if you look at over the longer period of time, of course, it doesn't look as impressive. Yeah. But my question to you would be, if Klopp stayed for another, let's say 10 seasons in these current circumstances, what do you think he would have done?
I think he would have won 2 more titles. I don't think, definitely when you're thinking about the Champions League as well, which Klopp's
But if we're considering that his energy would have been, depleting over the time.
Yeah, to be honest. I mean, at the end of the day, he stepped down because of low energy, and Wenger managed to keep on going, who faced even tougher circumstances, which you have to give him credit for. And like I said, he did.
I'm not giving him credit for going longer than he should have.
I think obviously the last 5-6 years, the decision making of staying. But I was thinking about it, and I'm thinking if I'm a guy that's gonna take a club for a period where I know I can't spend, my best players are getting taken, fam, your pride's gonna tell you, listen, when we come out the other side, I need my time now to restore my reputation. And I think by then,
but
he was just done that.
By then, he started spending the money wrong.
That's the thing, because I remember there was even a summer we spent over 100 mil, which at the time, for us was a big window. But it got spent on Xhaka, Mustafi and Lucas Perez. And that was the same summer that I think we tried to sign Vardy and we tried to sign Kante as well. Yeah. And he let Kante go. So that type of decision making towards the end of his Arsenal career,
it wasn't great.
Big flop. But then I look at on the flip side, and I think if Klopp had stayed and maybe got access to money, obviously he's rebuilding the team now. He rebuilt the first team extremely well. But you think last season, if he actually had the money to get certain deals through. Someone like a Casado might come to Liverpool. You don't know how he would have ended up.
I feel like he would
You
have
spent
done well.
85 mil on Nunes, for example. You still, we don't know whether he's going to deliver the goods long term. So I think if he did stay, I think, you know, he's probably going to take more of a hit to his legacy than really building on top, in my opinion. I don't think he would have done.
I feel like he could.
I don't think he would have done
if
as
he had
well,
the
personally.
motivation, I feel like ability-wise, he would have been fine. But I just want to come on quickly on Klopp and Wenger on the whole as managers. Now, firstly, I do think it's very close, and like I said, I feel like they're two of the best pound-for-pound managers of all time. But I feel like Jalen sort of limits the argument sort of purely to the Premier League because he's got that natural English bias. But I think when you look at their careers on the whole, I feel like Klopp just edges him because of the 2 Bundesligas that he won against Bayern, which I feel like is a tremendous achievement, which is often brushed past by English fans and the English media.
The Invincibles, though?
No, the Invincibles is very good, and the titles that he's, I think, so if we
Sounds
look at
bad, that's what I'm saying.
no,
But
he's
if you actually
very
look
good.
at which one's better, though.
So Wenger's got the Invincibles. He's got 2 other titles with Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
And then Klopp has 2 Bundesligas with Dortmund, one of which where he broke the points record, by the way. And then he's got the 99 points with Liverpool as well. And then on top of that, he's got a Champions League. I think then when you're looking at Wenger and you're looking at his European legacy, I feel like it's quite poor for a manager of his standard. He never won the Champions League. Wasn't really kind of consistent powerhouse in the competition either. So I feel like when you're looking at that
during a certain period,
I feel like when you're looking at that, no, let me just finish. I'll let you finish. When you're looking at that, for me, you've got to go with Klopp because I feel like domestically they're quite equal, and in European legacy wise, I feel like Klopp is much more impressive.
My biggest issue with this is that every time it's Klopp versus like Pep or someone else, it's let's use context, let's use all these other things, yeah. But then when it comes to Wenger, but when it comes to Wenger and Klopp, suddenly it's but Klopp won all of this and Wenger only won 3 titles and da. So what is it? Are we looking at context or are we just judging it?
Well, I just compared it. Wenger even has longer time. Like I didn't.
But I'm
even
saying,
take that away.
are we looking at it objectively, or are you taking into account all the different external factors? Because as I said, if you take
Wenger
into
has about like 10 more years of management.
if we take that all into account, in my opinion, Wenger is the better pound-for-pound manager because his problems are harder to deal with, 100%.
But
I think Klopp in those same circumstances.
I feel like Klopp could do the same thing.
No, he couldn't. No, he couldn't.
Klopp was coming top 4.
No, he couldn't.
Klopp is never
going invincible.
Before we spent the Coutinho money, we were finishing top 4.
Klopp is never going invincible. And I think,
no,
obviously, if you come to the... Stop saying that because, as I said, there's people out there that know that is the best achievement or the hardest achievement that has happened in this league. 100% it is.
Not.
Yes, it is. What are you talking about?
No,
it's not. Centurions is not better than going invincible.
Of course it is.
Centurions is probably easier to do. That's the thing.
Centurions and the Invincibles are in the league. Who wins it?
The Invincibles, 100%.
What do you
we had this discussion.
Who wins it?
You think the Centurions are beating the Invincibles?
The Centurions got more points.
Yes, because we had already won the league, like 4 games to go, bro. We baked off.
You were drawing well before that.
No, bro. We baked off. We baked off, man.
12 draws.
We baked off still.
There was 12 draws.
And as I said, if we were going up, I think I said to you before, yeah, I think Pep is the one manager that can bring the best out of other sides competing against them. Yeah, and if we look at you see all those managers.
So you think you could have got more than 100 points?
All the managers that we discussed earlier. Yeah, if you go through all of their best teams, I think they're all better than Pep Centurions. Including
one second quickly. I just want to go back to what you said. You said about the Invincibles, how you'd already won the league. Is that an excuse? Because if you look at that Liverpool team, they had already won the league by February and they got 99 points.
Yeah, they got their 99 points, but they were projected to do way more than that. By the way, they'd won their first 26 games out of 27.
We got COVID, didn't it? COVID, we
breaking the season.
What does that mean?
We just broke our rhythm.
So what do you think you would have got if that didn't come?
I feel like we would have broke the record.
Bro, you should have done it anyway. But as I said,
when you were looking at when we were playing before COVID hit, bro, the rhythm we were in, bro, they were unstoppable. We were literally just. Can't believe that
unstoppable. They came to the Emirates and lost. They went to Watford and lost. It's not unstoppable. Whereas I can genuinely say that my team didn't lose. That's what I'm trying to say. But either way,
I think you lost 2.
Anyway,
I said already.
We're moving on because
out of
I
those,
think the last topic now is, and I think we're kind of coming into nicely, is the different sides across all of these great managers. Like, how do we rank them? So I think the sides that we have is, let me just go to the chat. So we have, because we had an argument about this. It's taken me a while to.
I think it was Wenger's Invincibles, Pep's Centurions, Fergie's team with CR7. I think that was
2007 to 9, and Klopp's
Liverpool, and Mourinho.
And Mourinho's Chelsea. Well,
first,
Marcus, you haven't spoken too much. Why don't you rank them?
oh. So if they all to come up against each other, obviously I've got the Chelsea hard. I've got the Chelsea bias. I'm going to be honest. I feel like a team that only conceded 15 goals in a Premier League season is almost impossible to get past. I know you're going to big up the Centurions. I know you're going to big up the Invincibles, but I genuinely.
Oh wait, actually, sorry. Before we go into this, are we going for City Centurions or are we going to go for City Treble? Which one are we going for?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think the Centurions are better, man. I'll be honest. Like
They're better to watch as well.
Okay, cool.
So as I was saying, Mourinho's 2004 to 2006 team, I feel like that's the best because I feel like it's the hardest achievement to replicate. Like no one has even come close, not even close since then to replicating this feat.
Such an anti-football stat.
Fair enough. The Invincibles, Liverpool almost done it.
Yeah.
yeah, but you can't say almost though.
Okay, but no one's almost even done what Chelsea's record has.
Okay, that's fine. That's a
good
good defensive record.
The closest has been 23 goals. That's a whole 8 goals away from it, man.
Anti-football.
You might not say it's anti-football, but it wins games. So I'll have them at the top. I'll probably have the Centurion second,
Okay.
Invincibles third, and I'm going to have to go with Klopp's team last, actually, and put the United three-peat team in fourth.
Okay.
I don't think it's the three-peat team though.
It is, yeah.
It's a
Oh, the
three-peat.
three. Oh, you're talking about the Premier League.
They won
Yeah,
three-peat
yeah.
and then they won double Premier League double
I
in
think,
last season.
I think that team is better than Klopp's, but I think with Klopp's team,
You think so?
yeah, I think the only reason that I put Klopp's team at the bottom is just because I think if you look at the weaknesses of each side and the weakest areas, I think you guys have that the most. Like I said, in midfield, I don't think your midfield is close to the standard of the other sides that we're discussing. And if you look in the other areas, yeah, of course you had the Saleh and Mane, sorry, but all those other sides, like they have, you know, a player in there that's like almost top 5 basically.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I think if you look at it from that perspective, if they all went up against each other, I think Klopp's team probably does finish 5th. That's no disrespect to them. I think they're a great
I
side.
mean, you said they all have a player in the top 5. We got
Yeah,
Alisson,
I
Van
don't-
Dijk, and Trent.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You guys have that,
And Salah.
but all the other sides basically have those type of weapons as well. Do you get?
Okay.
And they have a more. I think the floor level of the team, yeah, it's more complete. It's more balanced.
Okay.
I think the experience of those sides, the know-how as well. I said already.
We had that.
Yeah, you had that, but you have the weakest area, bro. You have the weakest midfield. 100%. Back, like it's clear.
We do have the weakest midfield, but in my opinion, I think those teams are all greater than our teams because at the end of the day, they broke records and they will be remembered for that. Klopp's Liverpool team never really broke a record. You know, they didn't win a treble. They didn't kind of.
So
Well,
who
they
would
won
you-
the league the fastest
who
time.
would you put them
but
ahead
I don't
of?
think they're mad memorable. If you're talking about in terms of quality, though, I only think.
Crazy. I don't know what I'm about to say, but it's
If-
crazy.
if-
right?
in terms of quality, I feel like it's mad close, but I've only got the United team, and then I feel like it's tight. The City team, I would have to say. But actually, funny enough, the City team, I feel like the City team that won in 1920 were better than the Centurion team. I feel like they were more. Was it 1920 or 1819? That team that got
98 points.
With 98 points. I would have to edge them. But I feel like in terms of quality, I feel like we can go toe to toe with anybody, and I've got us above Chelsea's team and Arsenal's team. Because I just feel like in terms of quality and actually playing as a unit, we were so on job. And that's why we were able to achieve points that all those teams haven't really got close to. Chelsea, to be fair, did get close.
I think Klopp's team is more of like the classical team in terms of like it favoured more towards individualism in my opinion, rather than it was a system, but at the end of the day, you relied on guys to game break to win. It wasn't really like a patterns of play thing where we're going here and then scoring a goal.
There's patterns
of play. I think it's more we're relying on people to do, and I think that the older sides are kind of similar in terms of the way that they played in transition. I think they were able to soak up pressure if they go away from home, and I think when we look at that's why when I look at the Centurions, I think they're a very good side. Obviously, you guys spoke about how well tactically drilled they were and how good the system was. I just think if they came against these really like well-balanced, complete sides full of players who are really experienced in this league, I just think it's a completely different type of completely different type of task to what they've already had against the Liverpool side. I just think it's a different type of beast, and I think going against like the Invincibles who be able to sit there, soak up the pressure, and then be really ruthless in transition, the same as Fergie's team, the same as Mourinho. I just think they would have the edge on that City side.
I agree with the Centurion side because I feel like the Centurion side were weak in transition. We beat them in the Champions League like 5-1 in aggregate. Yeah, you know, kind of bullying them in transition. But after that, Pep really managed his team to deal with counter-attacks.
But that's what I'm saying.
So
but you're talking about after that, though. If we're talking about that specific
team would struggle against those sides because, and
I think even if you took
they're all very good in
even if you took the treble side, I still think there's weaknesses in that side, bro.
Man,
I'll be honest with you.
What's your ranking?
We watched the treble side play Madrid and Bayern and smash.
Yeah, but that's what
them.
I'm saying.
They've
But
got
even if you look at those,
transition.
okay, listen. Like, I was even thinking about this on the way here. But even if you look at Bayern, they didn't have a recognized number 9. There's a clear weakness there. That team's not fully balanced. You go to Real Madrid. The reason that Madrid had problems wasn't to do with the experience. It wasn't to do with the quality. It's because they didn't have the legs to get around and even just compete in the midfield. I think they were playing like Modric and Kroos against them. And the manager got slandered for that after. So if you then go and look at all of those Premier League sides and you think about what their weaknesses are, I just don't think they play into the hands of a Man City.
That treble winning side played Arsenal and Liverpool in the league when they did well.
Our Arsenal team that was missing the likes of Gabriel Jesus and Partey and whatever it was, they didn't play us at full strength.
Okay, but
they didn't play. But Arsenal's side is not at our team last season.
With 4 centre backs at the back.
Yeah,
like,
but our team last season is not as good as the Invincibles, so it's irrelevant anyway.
But
my point is
to suggest that they can't deal with transitions. They've got like
I don't think that they. I think the older sides
they had like Ake, Stones, Diaz.
Yes, they're all getting
Walker.
muty, bro.
Akanji.
Henry, Ronaldo, and Drogba are dealing with that defense, bro. 100%. 100%. Yes, they will, bro. They will.
Not like that.
Who's did? Okay, so you tell me. You tell me.
As well, they're gonna control the ball. By the way, they're gonna control the ball.
Who do they play against now that is up to the level of those 3 men that I mentioned in the big games?
No, there's not a lot. No,
that's what I'm trying to say. So if they came up again, you think Stones, Diaz, Rodri, and them man could deal with the likes of Henry, could deal with Drogba, could deal with Ronaldo? Are you crazy?
City are gonna hurt you, bro. They've got a lot of quality.
Nah, man. I think, as I said, the older sides. You look at like Chelsea. Chelsea conceded 15 goals. Yeah. You look at like the nature and the structure of our team, the know-how of a United team that Ferdinand and Vidic and Evra and those guys. You think they couldn't be able to deal with Man City?
They had Rodri, Gundogan, and De Bruyne in midfield.
That doesn't matter, bro. That doesn't scare man at all. If I look at like the older midfields, I can't lie. Like
the older midfields aren't.
If I had Vieira, Gilberto, and I had Bergkamp against them, man, I'd be cool. I'll be honest with you.
They're gonna control the ball.
And like soak it up. That's fine.
As well.
I ain't got a problem with that.
I feel like you look at City, that treble-winning team, and you think that they could, but they're
nah, man. I think, as I said, those sides. You see the teams that we're discussing. Yeah,
and they've got Haaland up top.
If you look at how balanced they are, and if you just look at every single aspect of what makes a good team, they all have that.
They're very complete.
They have like, what are the weaknesses? Like you can't tell me what they're missing.
You think De Bruyne and Haaland aren't going to excel in those games?
I'm not saying. I think the difference in you two's arguments is that he's focusing more on how the attacks of before and how they can soak up pressure in the teams of before, and he doesn't feel like City can propose that much of a threat to them. Yes, City can propose a threat, but I feel like those teams are more equipped to deal with it than we have teams of
100%.
That's just the truth.
They are a bit more equipped, but there's going to be space. Like those teams, apart from Mourinho's Chelsea, who probably would sit back, they're going to want to bring the game to them, and there's going to be space.
Okay, but if you look at it, the balance of it, the other teams are more likely to hurt City than City are to hurt them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
KDB and Haaland aren't going to hurt.
KDB and Haaland are cool,
Campbell and Torre.
We've seen KDB.
Don't disrespect Sol Campbell.
They're amazing players. But
bro, I'll be honest with you.
Even
if I look at like an Ashley Cole, going up against like a Sterling or a Sane, I'm happy.
No, he's locking them off.
He's locking them off. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm looking at the different areas. I'm thinking De Bruyne against Vieira. That I'm happy with that. Do you get it? De Bruyne can hurt you, but Vieira's gonna do a more than good job dealing with it.
That is a good.
And I look at Chelsea's midfield, and I look at
like De Bruyne's not played physical.
I'm not saying that, but they had Makelele there, they had Essien in the same midfield. That's 2 men that could probably deal with my man, bro. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. Mm-hmm. And then we look at the flip side of it, and I'm looking at, do City have the facilities to deal with the best players of those sides? I don't think they do. Yeah. What are Man City going to do to stop Thierry Henry? What are they going to do to stop Drogba?
Against some quite top attackers and been able to, do decently against it.
Like,
Vinicius.
Yeah, he had to take off.
Vinicius.
He had to take off Fernandinho. Like, you know in that game.
I think obviously Kyle Walker.
That wasn't the treble-winning team. That was the season before.
But again, even if I look at Kyle Walker,
that's what I'm saying. Vinicius is a top attacker. Of course, he's not on the levels of these guys. I'm pretty sure, but like we're acting like City couldn't have played against PSG and won. Like. They could play Mbappe.
Yeah, but again, we're looking at completeness. That's not a complete side, bro.
It's not a complete side.
Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm looking at.
But that City side can deal with top. I think you're thinking that I do get your point, and they would struggle a bit with the quality of these attackers, but I feel like you are thinking a bit of the City of the old, in that they can play against top attackers, bro, and they're not gonna run riot. Yes, of course, they're gonna get the opportunities to hurt them, but
I'll be real.
Pep is gonna make sure that there's a plan in place to deal with
But
the
I just
top
don't
players.
think I don't think his defenders are good enough individually to deal with that. And even as a unit, they're gonna struggle because there's a lot of players on those sides that can make a difference. How are they gonna deal with that? Who's gonna be tracking, like, let's say Lampard there, when he's making them late runs into the box? Who's tracking that?
Rodri's not doing that.
Bro, City are not. They're not players like that, bro. I'll be honest with you.
If you say so, but we got to move on. So next on the list is Xavi.
Good riddance. Good riddance.
So Xavi has, quite alarmingly, Barcelona have not been in the best form. It doesn't look like they're going to win La Liga. And their fans don't have much faith for the Champions League either. I also think that, I don't know if they're out of Copa del Rey, but they also lost in the Super Cup recently. They haven't been in the best form overall, and he's been getting quite a lot of criticism. And he's come out and he said that he's going to step down at the end of the season, and he doesn't really feel like he's the right man for the job, essentially, to take Barcelona forward. And he's also said that the pressure of the job has kind of become too much for him to be that type of manager that can be there for years and years, like a lot of Barca fans were expecting. So Marcus, you said good riddance there. What's your thoughts on that?
Personally, I don't think Xavi has been the right manager for Barcelona from the start.
Okay.
I know people are going to come back with the answer saying that he won the league for them, but if you looked at how the other teams were performing in that league season, Real Madrid were really off it that season. They tried it, they weren't good enough. So it was kind of a season where Barcelona played decently well. I wouldn't say he installed a brand or philosophy of football that took Barcelona to a level higher than they have been in the past, or even equivalent to that. And if you watch them in the Champions League that season, they were awful. They were awful.
Well, yeah.
And obviously you're seeing it this season where with the likes of Real Madrid and Girona performing to a higher standard than Barcelona.
They're way off,
Barcelona just look way off it. They look way off it in the league. They look way off it in the cup games. They look way off it in the Champions League. And he's just been riding the buzz from that trophy win. But if you saw the cracks in last season, you would know that he's not the right guy. So
why do you feel like they're not that good? Is it tactically or?
It is tactically. I don't feel like they have a structure all around. I feel like he has an idea of the type of football he might want to.
Oh, sorry, no, I was talking to Nees. Needs to switch the camera. Go on.
I feel like he has an idea of the type of football he wants to play, but he doesn't have an idea of how to structure the team. Even the personnel he's brought in, like if you look at the attacking personnel they have, it doesn't really make sense in terms of building a front three or a front four. So they have Lewandowski, they have Yamal, they have Felix, they have Ferran Torres, they have Rafinha. I'm just naming countless names, and I can't, even in my head, I can't picture a structured front three that I'd make out of all of these players. They're all very different profiles who don't really complement each other at times.
Do you not think he deserves time to figure that out, though?
He's had enough time at the club.
That's quite a lot of time.
I think it's harsh, personally. I think it's harsh.
No, you go on.
And I think, obviously, that he made the point that, Barcelona are never going to have a Fergie type of manager at the club. And I think his case kind of does prove that in a certain aspect, because he's come in first season, a rookie manager, into a Barcelona side that is not the most stable side out there. Financially, they have problems. And he went there and he won a league during his first season. I think just because this season he has...
Was it his first season?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was his first season. He's gone there and won a league. And I think you look at like the Barcelona a few years previous to that, like after Messi had gone, we're in ruin, bro. Like he's taken them from a position where they were not even close to Real Madrid, and bought belief back. He bought young players through. He's bought some, like he hasn't, you could say that he hasn't got like a designated front three or whatever it is, but I think he's shown that he is able to bring something to this Barcelona side. I think the question is,
What is that?
I mean,
he's improved them.
If he definitely had a style from last season. I think this season, obviously, with the players that he's brought in and the fact that he's trying to probably keep them a bit more unpredictable, he hasn't got that right. But I think as a rookie manager that's come in and won the league during his first season, surely he deserves a bit of time to figure that out. And I think if Barcelona,
he deserves time, but he stepped down, hasn't he?
Yeah, he stepped down, but I think obviously he's done that because of the pressure that came with it, and I think they were looking to probably sack him. So he's basically just left before they had that opportunity. But my question is, obviously, if Barcelona want someone that's going to consistently come in now and challenge for the league every single season, who really out there is going to do that in those circumstances?
I don't think a lot of people
right
are going to take the job.
That's what I'm trying to say. So it's like they got to make a decision. Is it a thing where we're going to let someone come in and you know, they might take a couple of years to get up to where they need to be, but longer term will probably be in a better position. Or do we take a risk on someone that's probably old, a bit more washed, like a Mourinho or whatever it is?
Oh, no way.
And it's not going to work.
They're going to have to go for a young manager, but he's going to be so stressed. I feel like they should have been more patient with Xavi. Like, I do feel like Xavi was a bit overrated. I do think the league that he won was a very transitional season and it was kind of there for him. But I do feel like he improved the club. He was an ex-player, so it was easier to get the fans on side. And I do think as well, you do have to have some sympathy with Xavi with the mess that was around him. Like you talk
100%.
about the fact that he doesn't really have the most cohesive front three and he hasn't recruited too well. Barcelona, he can't really pick players that he wants.
They brought in a lot of players.
Bro, but they have to pick. They have to pick who's available. They have to pick.
No, they don't.
They have to get loan players.
Somehow, Barcelona have always found a way to get the player they wanted. Which player have they gone for that they didn't get?
If you're looking at attackers, though,
they literally wanted Lewandowski. Lewandowski begged to leave Bayern Munich and they got him.
Though?
It's not about the money.
Actually, he didn't want a younger striker. Lewandowski was there for cheap.
So that's the reason they went for Lewandowski. Is that what you honestly believe?
I'm not necessarily saying, but they do have to. They can't, like, in terms of priorities, they can't really go for who Barcelona would normally get. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think the team is good enough to be higher up in the table.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I think
and
at the same time, though, like last season, he overachieved. In all honesty, like he's coming to a squad that probably wasn't supposed to win the league last season. So does that mean him winning the league last season has now made it a thing where this season?
I feel like last season they should have because
I don't think
because of how poor Madrid were. Yeah,
I get that, but I don't think. Do you know what it is? I don't think you men are actually deep in like how bad Barca were before Xavi got there. I don't think you're deep in it.
They're still finishing top 2, bro. Like,
yeah, but they were left in a poor position and they still had to replace Messi. Like, it really had to be like he had to come in there really like steady the ship type of thing, and he won the league title in his first season as a rookie. Is this what we're doing in football now, man? Come on, man.
But come on, it was
bro.
quite
It's not.
open.
If it was a situation where maybe he's like 8th or something, like cool, he's not challenging for the title, but bro, he's gonna be Champions League next season. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna give him crazy credit. I'm not in Marcus's camp, but I'm not quite where you.
I don't think another manager would have come in that first season, won the league, and then be in this situation the season later. Probably just be around the top 4, maybe challenging for the league. I don't think they would have got over the line.
Many managers could have come in last season and won that league.
Good managers, good managers.
And I also think that if you look at the quality of La Liga this season, it's very poor. I don't know if you watch a lot of it, but it's very poor. So
that league is
for Barcelona to be where they are, a club as big as Barcelona, questions must be asked.
Yeah, that's true.
I just don't know if
all right, moving on. Upcoming young managers. So I feel like the first 2 questions is we may as well do the Barca one first since you just spoke about Barca. Who's coming in to take that job?
You got to just take risks now. There's not really a big name in the game who you can go for.
I think it was silly.
So it's going to be the same normal names on the table, but because it's Barcelona, I put a bit more Spanish and Iberian managers on the table. So
think they come for Teo?
They could do. I don't think Teo would.
Teo won't leave though. I don't feel like Teo's really finished the job he wants to at Barca. Also, when you look at the situation that Barcelona are in, I feel like Arteta would be very foolish to kind of leave Arsenal so early in his project and go there. It's a complete mess. Maybe if Barcelona were where they were meant to, yeah, you probably. If I was Arteta, I would jump 100%, but they're not. It's a very tough job at the moment. So
I'm going to give 4 names from least likely to most likely. So I'm going to go Arteta, then I'm going to go Xabi Alonso, but because he's Spanish, but because he's the Real Madrid links, I highly doubt he's going to go there.
No, I don't think.
Then I'm going to go Amorim, who's the Lisbon manager. He's touted to be quite a very good manager.
Where's he from?
Sporting Lisbon.
No, what language? Oh, he's Portuguese.
Portuguese, okay. Yeah. And then actually De Zerbi. I feel like a lot of teams are going to be in for De Zerbi in the summer, and he does play a brand of football that the Barcelona faithful will like and will want to get involved in.
I think De Zerbi's quite a good shout. I think that's the one that they should probably go for. Yeah. I don't know if De Zerbi's had such a good structure at Brighton. He might be looking at it and thinking, oh boy, in terms of the type of job to take on, especially because, you never know. I think Pep's contract runs out in 2026 as well. So he might have his eye on the City job, but then you think about City and the financial charges against
Pep might be an option as well. Pep has always said, if Barcelona ever need me, I'll go back.
Oh, I guess so. You could actually. It will be interesting who they go for, but I think De Zerbi's their best bet. They should go all in for him, but I don't know if he'll take it because he might be looking at it and thinking, for where I am in my career, I could probably get a job which is a little bit less of a beast, if you will. But I think in terms of style, in terms of the age, in terms of what he's proven, I think it would be a very good fit for Barcelona, and would be a good, it would be a good sign or good thing for La Liga, because at the moment, you know, the Prem is kind of taking the best talent, the best managers. Yeah. So it would be a good sign for them to take, you know, one of the top upcoming managers in our league.
What do you think for Klopp? Who's going to replace Klopp? What's your options?
So I feel like for me, there's only really there's three options that I think are a likelihood, but so the three options are Nagelsmann, De Zerbi, and Alonso that I take in at this time that I think is likely. For me, Nagelsmann, tactically, he's a bit too adventurous for me. So I wouldn't go for him. I also think he's just got into that job at Germany, so let him stay there. I feel like really for me, it's between De Zerbi and Alonso. And I feel like Alonso's a better fit anyway, kind of outside of the football, because he's obviously been at the club. I think kind of coming after Klopp, it's always going to be a drop-off. So you're going to want a manager that at least has something outside where he can, you know, have that natural link to the fans. But even from a footballing perspective, I prefer... Huh? Oh, okay. Even from a footballing perspective, I prefer Alonso's tactics, just because he plays a little bit more with that game pressing, front foot sort of pressing football. And De Zerbi's is a bit passing, a bit slower. And I feel like having Klopp now, with the fact that we've had Klopp brought an identity to Liverpool, which I want us to keep now. That high press, high energy football. Like Jaden said earlier, is quite aligned with British values of football, and Liverpool is a staple club for British football. And I think it suits us. It suits Anfield. I don't want to see that high energy, counter pressing football come away from Liverpool now. I feel like that's a part of us, almost in the way that, you know, Arsenal play kind of beautiful possession football and Chelsea play anti-football, you know? So, yeah. Alonso for me.
You're getting Thomas Frank, but anyway.
Alonso for me, 100%.
The end of there, mate.
Anyway, thank you for coming to the Rondo.
Yeah.
See you lot next week.
Thank you for coming to the Rondo, guys. Like, subscribe, and all of that.
It's kind of right here, man.
We're all on managers.